Okay, Cougs opened up with two very good wins this weekend. First at home against Eastern Washington, which are a very good Eastern Washington team. I believe they tied the Huskies in preseason. Was slow first half to start, and then we got together and took care of business the second half. And then a huge win on the road at Texas A&M. It's not an easy place to play. I mean, obviously the elements were extreme with the heat, but that, for those that know soccer, that's one of the best venues to play a game at, and to come away with a win was good. So, great weekend, and I really appreciate all the fans that came out opening night to support the Cougs soccer with a packed house on Thursday.
All right, we'll give the opening question to Gianna.
Hi, Coach. This is Gianna Cephalou with Kaylee WTV in Lewiston. So Grayson Lynch, she was just named the Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week. What were you impressed most with by her performance? What did you like from her?
Actually, I think her bounce back from Thursday, because she left a couple out there on Thursday night and she realized it. And being a fifth-year senior and taking the ownership of, I should have done more on Thursday from a goal standpoint, to come out in A&M in the heat, hit that PK when it was needed, and hit that game winner the last 8 minutes of the game. That shows what a big-time leader and captain can do.
All right, we'll give it over to Jamie.
Coach, just in terms of both games, you obviously had to display a little bit of resilience, going down against Eastern and then going down against A&M. What do you think that speaks to your team's overall resolve and maybe some mental toughness to trail now twice and come back and get wins on both games?
Obviously, as you know, Jamie, that's not something you want to plan to be down. And I think it's a little bit of a learning curve from last year. I mean, I don't want to use the word dominate, but a lot of games last year we were in front of goal, and a similar situation took place at the lower soccer field on Thursday. I think we ended with 30-some shots. We go into halftime like, is this really happening again? So I think it's preparation over time. It's being more clinical and composed in front of goal, and it's the leader stepping up on the field and taking that ownership and not letting the adversity set in. So ideally, we don't want to play it that way. But on the flip side, the positive, we've been down 2 games, come back. Obviously, I want to change that mentality, but you got to like when your team's got some fight to come back, both at home under pressure against a game you're supposed to win, and then on the road where you're not the favorite in the high heat and you come back. So 2 great positives for us for sure.
You've obviously gotten a pretty incredible production from your freshmen so far in these 2 games, and we've seen 5 players really make an impact. What have you seen from that group and the way they've been able to maybe change the outlook of the team so far?
Well, it's a big-time class, big-time recruits. They came from big programs. Now it's my job, to manage it correctly. They can't get big heads. We can't overwork them. They got to continue in routine and stay the course, and details matter all the time with this program. So yeah, it's been big. Obviously it shows our depth across the board, because we are talented, I feel like, all across the board. And if they can continue to do their job and I can manage them correctly, I'm excited to see what goes from here.
I want to specifically ask about Georgia. She's obviously kind of thrust into that role against Texas A&M with Jenna going down, and at least to my eye, played extremely well on the outside. What did you kind of maybe see in her maybe even having some veteran ability in her when she's 18 years old and being thrust into that role?
Well, that's a great point, because those that watched that game, that young lady on A&M that played up front, McDonald, maybe one of the best forwards in the country, first from an athletic standpoint. And Georgia's one of our better athletes. And it was tough. It was in the heat. She's young. She didn't get any minutes on Thursday. I went with my gut. I went with the reason why we recruited her. I went with my staff's opinion, and we knew Georgia could do it. And 8 minutes in the first half, she had to go in left, and went to halftime, and there was no looking back, and we knew she could close it out. So hats off to Georgia. Again, she's got to continue to get in rhythm and stay on course, but she had a huge responsibility. I mean, we talk about a lot of bigs in that game, Nadia being huge, our backs being huge, Grayson doing what she did, Margie getting the game-winning assist. But what Georgia had to do off the bench against one of the best forwards in the country was pretty impressive.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
All right, we'll give it back to Gianna for the second question there.
So, Coach, you mentioned obviously you kind of want to change the dynamic of come from behind wins, but in terms of the goals themselves, they're pretty wide open looks, pretty good shots there. What have you seen from that communication, especially on offense?
I like how we're getting there, and that's been something of our our strengths, but now it's taking more respect in front of goal and appreciating the quality versus the quantity. And that was one thing we talked about going into this game, because at Eastern, it was all quantity and not quality. So we had to make some adjustments and talk. And again, I know it's his language, but we start talking about these things are important, and being more composed in front of goal versus being more frantic. So they really adjusted well to that, and I'm happy about that. We just got to hope that continues.
You talk about just kind of the adjustments, but clearly a big win on the road against an SEC team of Texas A&M. What kind of a win like that does it do for the confidence of this team moving forward into the rest of the season?
I think it does a lot because you're on the road and you're winning. It does a lot to show that we were down, and last year those moments didn't happen. I challenged him before the game. Last year we did a lot of okay stuff, not a lot of great, right? And we needed a big win out of the gate. That's a big signature win out of the gate, right? And that's where I'm going to go positive with that, because this program is known to getting big wins, both at home and away. And you get that in game 2. Now we just got to make sure we're cool, calm, collect, and that we're not full of ourselves, because it's just 2 games, right? We got an unbelievable Portland team coming up. As far as I'm concerned, if we don't take care of what we just did, that matter against Texas A&M doesn't matter to me. We got to take this next game and go.
All right, we'll give it over to Austin Gex in Spokane.
Hey, Coach. I saw that over the weekend, Bridget went over 6,000 career minutes for the program. Just what has she meant to your, program and the locker room over the years?
It's been great for Bridget, a leader, a captain now. She's been steady. Obviously, she got injured last year at the end of the year. To see her bounce back from that, a local kid playing in a key role as a center back. She does so much for our group. I thought Bridget was fantastic on Sunday. I really did. And not that she didn't have a good game on Thursday, but those backs were really tested at times down there. And the amount of running she had to do, and after coming off an injury she did last year, was great. So she's got the pulse of the team on the field and in the locker room, which was great.
And how important is it for you to carry this momentum and, continue to get off to a good start this season?
It's huge. I mean, winning's contagious, losing's contagious. And, you just got to stay in the moment. You got to stay positive. You got to build on momentum. You got to continue to get better at practice. They got to stay strong with the classroom. It just started now. So starting off is perfect. But again, every day matters, and next team up. So we got to keep going.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks for your patience. We'll give it over to Joe Rudo at the Daily Evergreen.
Hi, Coach. Nadia Cooper got her 20th career win this week, and she had a couple of big saves, and she played a big part in the Eastern game as well. What can you say about her impact on the team?
She's got a bounce back so far season. I mean, last year, Nadia would be first to admit that wasn't her best year, and that's okay. And live and learn, and she is off and running. Had a great summer, and, again, was really key on Sunday for sure. Scheduling that game, I always like to take our players home, and that's a home game for Nadia going back to Houston, right? That's where she's from. So though she goes home, she deals with that and the crowd, and she carries us, right? Because we can sit here and talk about all the great goals we scored, we did, but Nadia had some key moments in that game that for sure helped us out. So hats off to her, proud of her, and I'm glad we got a chance to take her back home.
For sure, Coach. Talk a little bit about Naomi Clark. She scored in her first 2 games in the WSU jersey. First time since 2013 that this actually happened. Did you see her having this much of an impact before the season and when you were recruiting her?
Well, we knew she's a goal scorer. We've seen her in high school. We've seen her play for one of the best clubs and best club coaches in America, and Lauren Donaldson at Rio, Colorado. We call her a little bit of a fox in the box, meaning she scores goals in that box. And when she's in there, she is dangerous. So we knew, but again, as a freshman, you never know what you're actually going to get when you get here. So she's playing against 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds. The pace is faster. The game is longer. The heat's more, whatever you want to call it. We knew she had the potential. To say that I thought she'd come off like this, I'd be lying. But we knew we had a potential in this kid, and she's off and running. We're super excited about her.
For sure. Last question, Coach. What do you know about Portland's team, and is there anything that you guys have been preparing for this week?
They're a great team. Michelle French has done a great job turning that program around. They gave us a battle last year. We tied them at home. They're an NCAA tournament team. They're back. Portland's good. It's a real game. It's I rank them up there at some of the best teams in the country, especially in the West Coast. So we scheduled this game for a reason, because we knew they were good. They were great last year. They're going to be great again now. it's a win-win for both teams, RPI wise. So we're going to go there, give them the best shot. And yeah, they're a great team.